stuff?
It was not a deadbolt, but it was a log against the trail, and they had a rope tied to it, like a lasso.
Yeah.
And then when Sanders pulled the rope, the log rolled down the hill, and the log pulled him with it.
Yeah, so the big, heavy, super heavy log tied to a rope. Moon got it all set up, so Kit just had to, I think, pull the rope or something, and that would release the log once it trapped around Sanders' foot. And so Sanders is chasing Moon, and Moon's like having a great time. He's running, and he jumps over the trap. And I believe when we left out, Sanders is like holding on for dear life while this log is trapped to his leg that's about to roll down into the river and take Sanders with him. And Moon is going for Sanders' gun, and I believe he gets it. Yeah, it says, I bent over and unsnapped his holster. I took the pistol out and jabbed it in my pocket. I'd be fine if you hadn't taken all my things. Sanders says, I'm going to kill you. And I stared at him. Suddenly, I felt myself getting angry again. I'll kill you, I screamed. You took me away to Pinson. Leave us alone. And Kit's freaking out. He's like, Moon, stop. And Sanders is mad, and Moon's like breathing heavy, and it's a really stressful, serious situation. And Kit's saying, Moon, come on, come on. And that got us to chapter 28. So we'll read chapter 28 and chapter 29, and then we'll see how we are on time. Here we go. I told Kit that we had to wait a while before we shot the pistol, just in case there were more people out in the woods looking for us. You think it's loud, he said. It's gonna be loud. I never seen a pistol this big. You don't think he drowned, do you? No, once those vines get some slack, they spring loose. I'll bet he went riding down that creek a ways, though. I don't want him messing with me anymore, Kit. You think he found his way out yet? If he walked that creek, he's bound to hit a road eventually. Or float down it. That too, Kit sighed. This is crazy, Moon. I'll bet he's going to have the whole police department looking for us. Obregon from jail said he didn't have any friends. Maybe we should start walking towards Alaska soon. I shook my head. It's too cold up there right now. We'd best wait till spring. Stay here in our shelter as long as we can. I could teach you more stuff. If you don't remember, Obregon was one of the guys that was in jail when Moon was thrown in jail. And Obregon and the other officers that were in that jail were like all annoyed with Sanders, and they didn't really like him. And Obregon said like Sanders doesn't have any friends or anything. Over the next 2 weeks, we made improvements to the walls of the shelter, piling on more pine boughs and anything else that we could find to keep the rain off. Even though the venison seemed like it would last until spring, I made snares and deadfalls in the forest that brought us rabbits, possums, and a few raccoons. The deer's sinew was dry and cured. I twisted it into a thin cord and strung the bow with it. I finished it out by wrapping the handle with deer skin and carving out a small channel for the arrow shaft. Outside of patching our shelter, making weapons, and checking traps, there was still some time to play. I made a vine swing across Kit Creek, and I stacked a mound of pine straw and magnolia leaves to land it. We made flutter mills out of twigs and leaves and had contests to see whose would last the longest. Kit liked these things, and it didn't take that much time to get his mind off of Sanders. On some nights, we'd lie up on the lookout platform and stare at the stars. Kit smiled when I talked of the fun we would have when spring came. How the creeks warmed and how we could make spears and swim down in the clear water looking for bass and bream. What about Alaska? We'll load up on food and then we'll head out. We can't leave for Alaska without plenty of supplies. I told him how we could boil blackberries in the can to make syrup or pour them over acorn cakes. I told him of catching frogs as big as our feet and a line on our backs and kudzu with full vine of honeysuckle and fresh eggs from duck nests that we would cook with bacon from a wild hog I would kill. The only night sounds that came to our ears were from owls and coyotes. Occasionally we heard a bobcat. Sometimes we heard sounds I couldn't figure out, and I told Kit about the time Pap had seen a Bigfoot in Montana. Kit got scared about the Bigfoot until I told him that there weren't any in Alabama, of course. I slept with the pistol beside me. Almost every night I would take it from under the marsh grass and I'd turn it over in front of my face. The writing on it was the only thing I had to read, so I memorized the make and model and serial number. Colts PT.FA Manufacturing Company. Hartford, Connecticut, USA. United States property, model of 1911, U.S. model of 1911, U.S. Army number 445309. One morning, Kit asked me if he could hold the pistol. I pulled it from under the marsh grass and gave it to him. He held it out carefully and studied it. You're going to have to learn to shoot it, you know, I said. I will. I could set up some targets for you. What about bullets? Well, we'll have to buy some more when we get money from things we sell. Kit gave me back the pistol. Man, we've been out here a long time, Moon. Yeah, I said, returning the pistol to its hiding place. We got everything we need. I looked over at him. Sorry, we should look for some medicine. I looked over at him. Were you sick? I don't know. Sometimes I don't feel good. I think we should have some medicine ready just in case. We'll get some today. I knew of a place on the hillside where black willow grew, and we spent the morning pulling bark and grinding it into aspirin. We stored the medicine with the meat in the ground where it would stay dry. Nothing to worry about now, Kit. Kit smiled, and it seemed like he wasn't worried anymore. That afternoon, we used the knife to scratch out patterns in the deer hide for 2 hats. I'd used twine. Using twine I'd made from the inner bark of cedar tree, I bound the pieces together and gave Kit the hat with the tail still attached. He wore it proudly, and we decided that they were our symbols that we'd wear all the way to Alaska. One afternoon, we lay in the treetop platform watching buzzards circle us. I told Kit that if we lay there long enough, we might even be able to get one to come down. Have you ever done it? Nah, but thought about it a lot. How long we gotta lie like this? You can do something else. Hey, let's go shoot the pistol. You think it's safe now? Well, it's been more than 2 weeks since we saw Sanders. I don't think he's coming back. I chose a rotten log as a target, and Kit followed me to a place about 20 yards back from the log and stood behind me while I inspected the gun. I thought you'd shoot a gun before, he said. Well, I have. Well, why do you always look at it like that? Because I never shot one like this. It's automatic, and it's big. After a minute, I discovered how to slide back the top of the pistol so that it loaded a bullet from the magazine. I held it out in front of me and aimed it at the log. I sucked in my breath and squeezed the trigger. The explosion threw my arms over my head and left me deaf to all but ringing in my ears. As I brought the pistol down, I saw that I had hit the log where I was aiming. I turned to look at Kit, his hands over his ears, and pulled them away slowly. I never shot anything like that, I said. Barely hearing my own voice, I laughed. I can't even hear anything. Did you hit it, Kit asked. Sure I hit it. I turned back around and Kit slammed his hand to his ears again. I aimed the gun with more confidence this time and I squeezed the trigger. The pistol bucked into the air and the explosion punched so deep my teeth hurt. Wood chips flew from the center of the log where I was aiming. When I turned to look at Kit, he smiled and nodded. We're going to get something big with this thing in Alaska, Kit, I yelled. Why is he yelling so much?
Because he can't hear.
He can't hear anything because that gun was so loud. Presley, do you remember the type of gun that he had prior to or early in the story? When Moon was living with his dad, what kind of gun he had?
A rifle.
It was a rifle. Do you remember?
243.
It might have been a 243.
No, it was a 270.
Yeah, it was something relatively small, about a 22 gauge, I think, rifle.
243. No, it was a 270.
Well,
243 because I remember.
we could look. I don't know if I'll be able to find it real quick here. But if you remember, here we go.
And watch the videos.
Let's get some salt and we'll have some 22 gauge bullets. So it's a 22.
No, the 20 gauge shot.
22. It says it right here. I'm reading it.
Reading it.
It says, guess so, Pap grumbled. Let me have some salt, some 22 bullets, vinegar, box of nails, and matches. You wouldn't put 22 gauge bullets inside of a shotgun. Like, that's not how that works. So, and it was like a small hunting rifle, 22.
I heard gauge.
I
Yeah.
did too.
I added
did
that.
too.
I added that. All right, so chapter 29. Gosh, I don't know if we're going to have time to read. So we'll hold up for right now.